Café and Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Today we talk with Clint Hatton, an author, motivational speaker, personal development, and leadership coach. He's also the founder of BigBoldBrave in McKinney, Texas. So Clint, your tagline is Courageous Humans, Inspiring Lives. What do you mean when you say eating fear for breakfast?
Well, first of all, good morning, Tom, and thank you so much for having me on. I'm really honored that you reached out to me, and so I'm excited to talk to you today. Yeah, eating fear for breakfast. You know, fear is a plague, right? It's something that has really gripped our planet in so many different ways, and most people get crippled by fear. They don't make. I always tie in courageous decisions because I think the way you conquer fear is you make a courageous decision. You decide that you're not going to allow the fear to cripple you and stop you from doing whatever it is that you really know you want to do or that you need to do. And for me, you know, one of the greatest examples of that is my part of my story is my oldest son was about 8 years old when he wanted to become a pilot, and he never let go of it. He just
no fear there, right?
No fear there. And he was truly, if there was someone who was as close to fearless as you can get, it would have been Gabriel. And so he pursued that. And by the time he was a freshman, he got an opportunity to join an aviation program and also a club where he got to start flying when he was 16. So he soloed at 16. Now that took a courageous decision. You know, if you can imagine, didn't even have a driver's license yet. And he gets in a plane and
you could fly without the driver's license.
Oh yeah. yeah. Okay. I know, it's crazy. So, you know, he gets in the plane and the instructor jumps out and says, go for it. So, you know, that takes a courageous decision. And it's not that you don't feel fear. There's certainly trepidation that we have to experience, right?
Right.
But he made the decision, I'm going to do this. Now, as parents, we're both standing there.
Right.
Watching this take place, you know. And I'll never forget the way I like to describe it is as he was taking off, I was so excited, Tom. I mean, it was exhilarating. It was just amazing to watch him go up. And then once he got up in the air, that's when something called fear hit me because I knew he had to come back down, right?
Right.
And so he came down and actually made a perfect landing the first time, which was pretty exciting. But, you know, it was a great example of you have to, if you want to chase your dream, if there are things that you want to accomplish, then fear's going to try to punch you in the mouth and you got to make a decision.
Yeah, but I want to take that example. That's a great example. He didn't have fear and he got up and he flew. You as parents had the fear.
Yeah, we did.
He sort of unshackled himself and gave it to you or you just assumed that.
That's exactly right.
And actually we assume fear in the place of others.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think especially as parents, it's easy to allow fear to creep in, you know, and many times we've been asked because, you know, the hard part about our story is he got his license at 17 and continued to get hours. And then just a few months shy of his 18th birthday, he was taking a friend back to the University of Arkansas, which is just a little north of where we live in McKinney, Texas. And on the way back, hit a unexpected weather system. And it was flying over some mountains and got what they call spatial disorientation. A lot of your listeners are probably familiar with when Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, when they crashed in the helicopter, same exact thing. You think you're flying up, you're flying down, and he lost his life, you know, and it was a devastating blow. And so, you know, even since then, we've had people ask us about the fear factor and were we ever worried about anything bad happening? And of course, the answer is once again a resounding yes, of course. Those thoughts are going to hit us all. They're going to hit us all. But for us, you know, we refuse to be revisionists about the way we chose to eat fear for breakfast and allow him to chase his dream. Because the fact is, even though we want him back and we would love to have had our life go the normal way where you watch your boy grow up and marry and do all those things. But the truth is he was a courageous human. He was chasing his dream. He was living his dream.
Right.
And his life was cut short chasing his dream. And I'll take that, Tom, as hard as it sounds. I'll take that any day, as opposed to a life that's crippled in fear and never willing to make that courageous decision.
Well, I want to congratulate you, because what I see, unfortunately, many people do, they shackle themselves with the thoughts of that fear. And then probably you go, I'm sure it went through your head several times, why did I ever, whatever, right? But when we get the life that we get, it doesn't come with a rule book or a playbook. It doesn't say, well, you got this time. So if it's a day, if it's a month, it's 17 years. If it's 75 years, right. I think we have to take what we get. I don't think, that's what I try. We take what you get, because we only get a day at a time.
That's right.
And if we let, as you said, if we sort of dwell on the fear in a personal situation, as you mentioned, but many persons in business relations and their personal relations with other people, fear is overwhelming throughout the world. People are just afraid of speaking to other people. I'm not talking about flying or getting into a car or doing something that may have risk. But even people think, well, if I want to go out and just approach Clint and talk to him, there's fear there. They don't want to do it. In a business situation, the fear of being ridiculed or failing in business, a startup. If you don't fail, you don't get anywhere. So I think essentially, and what I see what you're saying, eat it for breakfast, get it off the table, right?
Yeah, everything you just said, Tom, I couldn't agree with any more, and that's why I think eating fear for breakfast, it's a catchy phrase for sure, but it signifies what we face, and that's every day.
And your life has gone on. You have taken a number of challenges. You're a speaker, a motivational speaker, and you don't only talk about fear. I say you have a whole shopping list, right? It's a full course menu of speaking engagements, right?
Yeah, that's right. And, that was one of the things that my son inspired me in, is that I knew there was areas of my life where I still allowed fear to creep in. I had thought about starting a personal development company many years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was in another vocation, and I always thought, I don't have enough time. I maybe just don't have the resources. Right. I had a lot of excuses, but what were they all driven by?
Right.
They were driven by fear.
Fear. Well, we got the fear. You're a speaker, and we see that people say they'd rather die than speak on a stage, right?
Yeah, that is a common fear,
But to that point, they really don't want to die. And I haven't seen in my life anybody get on stage and die.
No, I've yet to see that either in my life experience. That's exactly right.
And there's a higher probability of success. Even failure in speaking on a stage is success if you can turn it around.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you just brought up a really great point. Is one of the ways we can crush fear is look at failure very differently. Mm-hmm. We can look at failure as just one attempt that didn't work, and we can learn from it. And then we can make another courageous decision to try another way, or do it again, or get better, or get more educated, or, whatever is appropriate for where you're trying to go in life.
Well, from a leadership standpoint, and what you do, that's the essence, is really helping. It's not convincing, because what I found, sometimes you can't convince people to something that's logical. You can help them see it, but you can't live it for them.
No, I 100% agree. As a matter of fact, in personal development coaching, I like to joke that I always give away the secret sauce, or what's behind the curtain, and that is that I don't really help anybody do anything. Mm-hmm. What I do is I get to know them, and I ask a lot of great questions to find out what's already inside, and then just help them unlock it so that they can overcome the fears or the mindsets or whatever it is that's holding them back. And that's why when they see it for themselves and then act on it with a courageous decision, right, they're successful. They see success because it's them. It's in them already.
Right. Well, what you do literally is just open the curtain.
Exactly.
Because many times we're behind that curtain. We don't want to open it. So you got to have somebody open it. Well, anyway, Clint, I want to thank you for being part of our show today. How can our listeners find you?
Yeah, Tom, thank you so much. The easiest way is to go to my website, which is BigBoldBrave.us. And yes, I know it really means .us, but I really believe that we can't do anything great without collaborating with others, just like you and I right now are helping people by collaborating. So BigBoldBrave.us, they can find everything. They can find my new book, which is called Big Bold Brave, How to Live Courageously in a Risky World, all my social media platforms. And they also can find a really cool video that tells our story a little bit. So that's the best way.
Very good. Not a cup of coffee, but a cup of tea.
Actually, I had my coffee this morning, Tom.
Very good. Well, thanks again, Clint, and success.
Thank you so much.
And for our listeners, again, it's Clint Hatton. It's C-L-I-N-T. The last name is H-A-T-T-O-N. And besides LinkedIn, you'll find him on BigBoldBrave.us. BigBoldBrave.us. And find everything there. His book, speaking, coaching, podcast interview requests, and social media links. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus Semi Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at www.focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.